positioned in the global market, you have to adopt this technology.
The demand-supply gap is on a constant increase.
So smart business could be compared to maybe a mini cloud.
Dun & Bradstreet India, in association with IBM, presents SME Cluster Series 2009, Bengaluru, at these times. Partnered by, only on Bloomberg UTV. This is Bloomberg UTV.
India's energy sector in the industry in association with Cluster Series of the energy industry in India.
At the Southern Bureaus for Bloomberg UTV, the business news channel, and I will be moderating today evening's panel discussion on creating a sustainable energy scenario for the future. We've heard a lot of speakers talk about what the challenges are currently, what India is facing and the world is facing. Let's just try and understand what the future holds and what we can do to make it as sustainable as possible. This topic is particularly relevant because of the upcoming Copenhagen summit, where world leaders will not only talk about not just cutting down emissions, but also creating and looking at creating sustainable energy models, especially in renewables. So, this topic itself, if you can share your insights specifically on with examples of sustainable models, right from solar to hydel to pretty much even fossil fuels, for example. If you can share how we can sustain all this, because pretty much the future generations need to inherit a world where there is no scarcity of energy resources, and it shouldn't be at our cost. I'll just run you through the guest with us. To my left, as you know, is Professor Ranganathan, Professor at IIM Bangalore, Mr. Jay Shankar, Vice President Marketing, Total LPG India, Ramesh S., Chairman, Powertronic Systems Limited, and to my right is Mr. Madhusudan Rao, Head Industrial and Commercial Supply, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, BPCL, as well as Mr. Muruganandam, Chief Executive, VV Controls. Thank you all for joining us. If I can start with you, Professor, you've given us your insights of where we are with different kinds of fuels, energy, oil and gas. But where does India really stand with regards to, creating a sustainable energy scenario for the future, right from renewables to fossil fuels?
I think I'm a wrong man to start with on this topic because of my predilections. I say sustainable first means that you have to sustain yourself. There is a United Nations starving child poster. At the bottom of it, it says, his name is today. So our name is today. Our per capita income is low. So to coin a phrase by M.S. Swaminathan, we should have an affordable environmental concern. An environmental concern which is affordable by us. So that means we should look at the economy first, production, incomes to poorer people, and anything which supports that is possible. That brings me to the analytical issue. Is energy and economy, or environment and economy, are they always opposed to each other? Is there a necessary trade-off? The answer is, fortunately, not always. For instance, in the area of conservation, energy and economy go together. Okay, you consume less as well as you benefit the environment. So in the area of conservation, there is a so-called win-win situation on both sides. But of course, there are other situations where you may have to make an environmental trade-off between environment or energy and economic development.
Jaishankar, if I can come to you next. You represent the LPG space itself. How is it looking from a sustainability point of view? What are the challenges, if you can just throw some light on how sustainable it is in the long run for India to continue to invest in the LPG space?
So, I would take from what the professor said. One is fossil fuels inevitable in the medium term or in the long term as well. Sure. The foreseeable future, as I call it. Now, two things which are required, according to me, for sustainable energy: the way energy is supplied and the way energy is utilized. Both happen to be most important for sustainable energy. Now, one thing which I can think of from the LPG point of view, since you asked this question, is LPG is produced world over from two methods, one from refinery and one from natural gas. And increasingly, LPG production from natural gas is increasing. World over, about 2/3 of LPG is produced from natural gas. India is a country which is present extremely close to this production point, and its utilization can be enhanced tremendously in India. One method of using LPG for sustainability probably is cogeneration, wherein the demand in the market currently is not the price of product, but for a low cost generator, a gas turbine, a low cost gas turbine. If you have that with cogeneration, it will be a wonderful mix, both from price point of view as well as from sustainability point of view.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ramesh, if I can get some comments in terms of the UPS and the larger clean energy sector. I mean, how are companies or industries perceiving clean energy? Are they just using it for certification purposes? Or are they looking actually to give back something to the environment, and not just invest in clean energy for the sake of it?
See, the first thing I want to mention here, the challenge we have in front of is how can we provide the clean, safe and environmentally sustainable energy, and also it is in an efficient way. So this is the challenge what we have. And if you try to understand now what is the sustainability problems we have in this conventional energy what we are using. So whether you take it in nuclear energy, whether you take it any of the fossil fuel, chemical energy, all these things if you take it, what is the sustainability problem what we have? Immediately what we find is one is the efficiency and the other one is the eco-friendliness. Yeah. So for these things, so what immediately we find alternative. See, immediately what we can do that. So renewable energy is one of the things actually which comes as an option. So we need to really focus. As for me, we need to really focus on that. Always look into that. The non-sustainable energy of any of this chemical energy or nuclear to a sustainable renewable energy. We need to really think of that, switching from chemical energy to physical energy, which we can directly get.
Madhusudan, if I can come to you, you were concerned that we won't be talking too much about fossil fuels, but I think sustainability itself applies much more to fossil fuels because that's the one that's worried about depletion. Your take on creating sustainability, especially in your area of fossil fuels?
At the outset, I would like to say I subscribe to Jaishankar's view, not because he's dealing with LPG and part of our this thing. Basically because I remember in 1980s and 1980s when we were to join an oil company. That time we were also thinking, because the report said that oil is going to last only 20 years. We were really worried. What happens after 20 years? What should we do for the job, of course? That time we were not realizing the importance of oil in our this thing. We are thinking of that. And of course, it is about 27 years I am working here. And I am sure that today we are talking about oil. It will be lasting us for another, say, 40 or 50 years. We are talking about known oil reserves. Maybe more and more discoveries will take place.
Sure. Muruganandam, I'll come to you next. You're a big fan of the solar energy wave itself. Your sense of what's happening in the Indian market with regards to solar. There's a perception in the market that solar is too expensive, difficult to maintain. The return of investment is a longer period. Are those concerns genuine, or is it a matter of time before the market accepts solar?
See, first of all, I would like to answer to your first question is the solar price. Price tag is more. Actually, the cost is solar power is not that much. If you take wind and as well as solar, today how many people are making wind tower and wind blades in India? The actual cost of the wind power and blade, it is maybe 3 times, 4 times of that what has been made in abroad today in India. The people are selling it. Okay, that's why the wind today it's more. So, because there is no takers, the wind power government is not coming forward to encourage for more usage. So when you take it, it's like a cell phone. When it started, cell phone was around 15,000, 20,000 rupees. Today you can get it for 1,000 rupees because of the volume. Today you increase the base for the wind and as well as the solar, definitely there will be the price reduction. And I always insist that we should go for a hybrid model, like use it in the house for lighting, either solar or wind. You have a hybrid model which has been put in the foreign countries for 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatt, 3 kilowatt lighting they are using in the house. So you use it. Maybe it costs about 75,000 rupees to 1 lakh. If government comes forward to give some subsidy instead of gas, okay, you are giving subsidy for the gas, okay. Sure. So why not for this and encourage so that your demand for the power is naturally taken care, because your demand is only in the consumer market, for lighting and everything.
Sure.
So actually it is taken care.
Sure.
So the price tag, what has been fixed today, I feel it is very high for wind and solar, which is not so.
पापा का नंबर किसको दिया? 1, 3, 5 सबको। सबको? मतलब?
आप देश भर घूमिए और बेफिक्र होकर बातें कीजिए।
Professor Ranganathan, he talked about the government needing to do more. Where are we with regards to government policy, with regards to pretty much across the board energy? I mean, are we in an area where renewables will be the focus area going forward, or do we continue to depend on oil and gas as pretty much being the mainstay, and coal?
My view on subsidy is very clear. The government did not give any subsidy for mobile phones. It is the competition. It is the undercutting of price by different companies that brought down the cost, and that actually increased the usage. Now, therefore, if a similar possibility is there, if many people can produce solar equipment, if competition can prevail in the market, that is how the price will come down, not through subsidies. Subsidy is like, he is talking about like infant industry argument. But if we have been there for a long time, subsidy, and nothing has happened, industry has not grown. So if you are patronizing that, then you are actually going to get moronic adults. That's what will happen. You will actually make them inefficient. That is all about the license Raj. That's what it did. It bred inefficiency. The same industry, when the licenses restrictions were removed, they were very nimble. So I don't agree for this intervention.
Okay. Ramesh, from a government point of view, the policy point of view, what is the sense that you're getting?
See, now here what we are discussing is sustainability. So when you look at the sustainability, are we trying to leave a right environment to our next generation, or we want to enjoy what is the cheapest available? That is what actually the question comes. So now we was mentioning that government support. See, we are not looking at government support to give for the investment, to promote that. See, awareness is very less now. Awareness of renewable energy, awareness of solar, what is the sustainability in this, those awareness are very less. Now we need to, the government need to take up these issues, bring the awareness to the people. For that government is required. And to bring that, of course, in the beginning, some incentives has to be offered so that some of the people can invest on that, some of the people can have a model on that. By looking at, people definitely do that. So now you said the mobiles have been, because of competition came up, but before the telephones were there, it took so many years. And in telephone also, there's a lot of incentives have been given, but it did not pick up so well. And mobile market is entirely different, and this energy market is entirely different. And that is for the fancy people started buying that. Not telephone people buy purchasing so quickly. The mobile market was picked up in a short period, but telephone market was not picked up in a short period. So that is a fancy, that is a different thing actually. The competition comes in different. If you release a car will pick up very fast. So we cannot compare with the car with our energy. Sure. The energy is something which people are not aware of that. Even if you give the free cars, they don't understand that. So they don't know about that fancy and all those things, the energy. So that, sure. For that, in that sense, I think government has to take initiative.
Okay. Bangalore itself, we've seen that the government has tried to enforce solar water heaters, for example, in new buildings. They're trying to enforce that. Somebody talked about let the market decide and not government intervention, especially in uptake of renewables. Your sense, should there be a mix of both? I mean, or should the government initially try and push it and then let the market take over?
No, I feel that the government should initially push this idea of encouraging all the houses to use this hybrid model or solar or wind for the electricity. See, today we are all engineers. We can always think of how to export the power from each and every house to the grid. You can connect around 200, 300 houses, and morning you will not be using lighting and everything. Okay, so you will be having power generation. You export to the grid, earn money from the government itself. Why not? See, unless we look for a change, because everybody will feel, what you want to do yesterday, would you like to do it today? Everybody will say yes. But would you like to change? The answer, most of them, no. Yesterday it was good, today also it will be good, so I would like to live with that. Why? See, are we going to live with this type of problem of power cut in the summer and, taking the UPS or whatever it is? See, today we have to look for a change. That's what I feel. We have to look at innovative ideas of taking this hybrid model and talking to maybe electricity board also should come forward, how I can buy the power from these small consumers. We will become a consumers, okay, to sell this power. So how it can be exported to grid? We can always think of, and I feel that will be the very good solution to, address this challenge what we have.
The beauty of nature has always inspired us to be more eco-friendly. Crompton Greaves is now CG. CG. Smart solutions. Strong relationships.
वो टीवी नाराज है क्या? नहीं सुबह से शाम काम करवाता और पूछता खुश हूँ मेरे बाप खुश हूँ।
मुझे लगा तू नाराज है।
अरे यार ये आदमी की पजामा।
अरे समझा कर यार, ये सब टाटा स्काई है ना, उसकी एक्टिव सर्विसेज की वजह से हो रहा है।
हाँ, पर उसमें तेरा भी हाथ है।
करेक्ट। सिर्फ टाटा स्काई की एक्टिव सर्विसेज हो तो टीवी आपके इशारों पर नाचेगा। इससे आप दिन रात जब दिल करे रेसिपी सीख सकते हैं, शॉपिंग कर सकते हैं, बच्चों को साइंस, मैथ्स, जीके सिखा सकते हैं और बहुत कुछ।
ये एक्टिव सर्विस ने तो मुझे ना पपेट बना दिया।
अरे नहीं रियली। टाटा स्काई का एक्टिव लगा डाला तो लाइफ जिंगा लाला।
जब सीमा का जन्म हुआ तो उसके घर वालों को खुशी नहीं, शर्म महसूस हुई, क्योंकि सीमा की माँ एक कुंवारी माँ थी। समाज और बदनामी के डर से सीमा की माँ ने उसको छोड़ देने का फैसला किया। पर शुक्र है कहीं बीच सड़क पर नहीं, एक ऐसी जगह जहाँ सीमा को अपना घर मिला, अपने माँ बाप मिले जिन्होंने उसे गोद लिया, एक सुरक्षित जिंदगी दी। मैं हूँ सीमा। समय पर सही रास्ता मिलने की वजह से मुझे मिली एक नई जिंदगी। परवरिश और परिवार है हर बच्चे का अधिकार। अधिक जानकारी के लिए संपर्क कीजिए
Professor, you talked about, the telecom and how the, uptake of the mobile phone itself was critical in making that whole revolution possible. But you talked the government support is pretty much the number one priority pretty much across the board. Not just that private players came into the picture, but also that the government opened it up for private players to come into the picture. Can that be translated in different solar, wind energy, where everybody comes in and brings down prices and makes it a mass, product?
I'm somewhat skeptical about it because of the reason which you mentioned earlier. Talk of alternatives has always come up only when the price of oil reaches goes above a certain level. And when it goes above a certain level, actually two things happen. Namely, on the demand side, it changes from what we in jargon say inelastic demand to elastic demand. That is, people start responding to the price increase. That means the demand falls significantly. Like, people concentrate on metros and things like that, away from private cars and so on. So, when that happens, remember the price in the first instance increased not because of supply and demand. This is an interesting thing. The oil price has never gone up because of supply and demand. It has always been fueled by expectations. So, the expectations play a huge role, and when the trend is reversed or when the demand is a little bit down, it sets into motion a crash. So, because the expectations are reversed. And so there is always a price crash. That's why I said even this $79 is not going to be sustainable. So there will be a crash. And when that happens, when it comes to say 30-35, all talk of alternative energy is gone.
Jaishankar, would you share his optimism? He's very confident that oil reserves will always be there for humankind.
Yeah, I share his optimism. Only thing is, if you protect the consumer from price spikes, he is not going to be efficient. And if he is not efficient, consumption will continue to increase and oil price will continue to go up. Today the growth engines for the world are only India and China, and because of these two, the oil consumption world over is stable or marginally less. Had the price been passed on to the consumer, even at today at $80, the consumption would have reduced. Without any change, there is no incentive for being innovative if prices are not market driven.
This is when you're smiling within yourself when the professor said there's going to be unlimited oil reserves and no worry on that.
As a matter of fact, I'm quite an optimist. I've got an email recently. Somebody was selling some sites on moon because you discovered water.
Sure.
Okay. I'm a thoroughbred optimist. The point I would like to make is that the fact of the matter is that though we have, shall I say, by God's grace, some amount of oil reserves which will take us for a long time into the future, it's also prudent that we also depend on our own sources of energy. Okay, it's a time for us to work out better ways of producing power, economic way, because we are a large population and most of the population are yet to know what electricity is in many of the villages. So it is time for us to think of the larger population where we will be in a position to really move the power to their places.
Just some final closing remarks. So I can start with you, Ramesh, on how we create successful, sustainable energy scenario for the future.
See, according to me, the one thing already I mentioned, I strongly feel that we should really switch from chemical energy to physical energy.
Sure, Jaishankar.
In the short and medium term, energy efficiency is the key. We have to concentrate more and more on efficiency so that the same energy is utilized better. Long term, renewables, alternate source of energy are more important for having a sustainable energy scenario.
Okay. Professor, I'll let you have the last word, so I'll start with Mr. Muruganandan.
Yeah, I would like to have a close remark. Let us use our natural resources, what we have, and let us keep our country with less pollution, because the pollution also is very important. Today, if you have a renewable energy, your pollution level will come down. So that's what I would like to make remarks.
Sure.
I think concluding, I would like to say that we need to really try to really work out the way of keeping the cake and eating it too.
Okay.
That is the sustainability.
Sure. You can have the cake and eat it. That's the last word from you, sir.
Well, I think oil security is a major issue for us. If the price is going up, we'll be hard hit. So I think we must somewhat emulate China, where we create our own oil interests around the world. We must think of long-term sustainability in this, and I think that's one very important area that we should think. On the renewables and non-conventional energy, I am a skeptic. I don't think they are going to answer our immediate needs, so we need not worry about them, because both from efficiency as well as redistribution consideration, we need a lot of conventional energy. We need we need to worry about security. You see, the Iran pipeline is going to be implemented by a Chinese firm. We have been delaying it. China is going to take that, and Petronet is a partner in diverting that energy to China. So we don't seem to have a policy of national interest in this.
Sure. On that note, we'll wrap it up. Thank you all for joining us.
Nirmal Bang and Bloomberg UTV present Beyond Market. Coming to your city. To know more, call 022-4217-4217 or call toll-free number 1-800-102-4217 or SMS MB space your name to 59995. Only on Bloomberg UTV.
Brought to you by Nirmal Bang. At Nirmal Bang, it's relationship beyond broking. Outdoor partner